Hi there, this is Jen, and thank you for joining me today. Today I'm super excited to be sharing some of the newest release from Visible Image, and we are going to be making this card today. Mother's Day card, and the stamps that I'm going to be using today are the golden daffodils. It's got several sentiments. One says thank you, one says sending sunshine, and then happy Mother's Day. And then we've got kind of an accessory stamp set called Chain Reaction, and then this beautiful stencil called Supernova. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp up my flower several times on a piece of hot press watercolor paper. Originally I was going to do a 5x7 card, so I stamped it up on a bigger card, but then I decided to go ahead and shrink it down to 4¼ by 5½. And I'm just going to do some really super simple coloring. I have taken some Distress Spray ink in Seedless Preserves and Twisted Citron and sprayed those onto my non-porous mat. And I'm just taking a paintbrush and dipping it into that color. I haven't diluted it with water, but sometimes I will go ahead and dip my brush in a little bit of water. And just like I said, super simple, easy coloring. I am not too concerned with making sure I am coloring exactly in the lines because these are going to be fussy cut out. And so I'm just basically taking the color and coloring up all of the flowers. This Seedless Preserves is one of my favorite colors from that line, and so I really love to get it out and use it. So as you can see, nothing complicated. I'm just very quickly going over the flowers. I also, once these dry, go ahead and splatter them with a little bit of white gesso. But I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut out all of my pieces. I wasn't sure exactly if I was going to use them all. I didn't end up using one of the pieces, but the rest of them I did. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut right along the line so there is no white border. And then I have grabbed my 4¼ by 5½ panel, and this is hot press watercolor paper as well. And I love this little pebble stamp. This would be great for like galaxy backgrounds, but I'm using it kind of as pebbles. I think it also would be really nice with to use as Easter eggs, and there is a Easter bunny or a bunny stamp in this new release as well that this would go perfect with. It's just one of those accessory stamp sets that you can really use with anything, just mix and match. But I really love these shapes for some reason. So I've just gone ahead and I've stamped both of these, those images up in some Versafine black. And then I'm going to grab the stencil and tape that down. And I'm going to take some more sprays and use the sprays through the stencil. And I decided to go ahead and go a little bit of a neutral color. So I am using antique linen. And then I will go ahead and grab some tea dye as well. So this is going to be like a really kind of faint image as far as going through the stencil. I don't have this pixie sprayed or any spray in the back, so it's a little bit lifted away from the cardstock, so it's not going to give me a perfect impression, but I think you can see the lines of the stencil still. And then that second color again is tea dye, and I'm just using that mainly on the bottom, so you can see really faintly the spray through the stencil, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. And so I'm basically just turning the stencil over, taking that leftover spray and pushing it onto my cardstock using a paper towel, and that'll give me a little bit more color in the background and a little more of that stencil pattern as well. And I think that turned out really neat, and it's a great way to kind of use up a little bit of that extra product that's left on the stencil. And then I'm going to start basically just adhering all of my pieces that I have cut out. And so I'm going to layer each of these twice. So I'm basically just taking some liquid adhesive, and I love to bend my flowers, so usually I will bend the flowers so it gives it a little extra dimension. And then when I add the glue, I'm just going to add it kind of to the part that's going to be touching the paper, so it's not going to be on the outside of the petals. And then I will go ahead and push that down onto the other piece. And so basically there's 2 pieces for each flower. And I went ahead and adhered that other flower, and now I'm just adding the second piece of the leaf area. And I wanted to mat this onto more of a color that matched with my flowers, and I didn't have any in my stash, and so I'm just taking the little mini distress cube and using a dauber and adding my own background because it matches perfectly since they are the same color. And then for my card panel, I added a little bit of double-sided adhesive as well as some liquid adhesive just to make sure that it gets adhered really well. And I'll go ahead and add that. And then I stamped the sentiment that says Happy Mother's Day, and I have cut that down, and I'm just adding a little bit of kind of extra detail, I guess, to that sentiment piece. And I added some foam, and we'll adhere that over the card. And then just to add a little bit of extra, I took my glossy accents and have added that to several of those kind of stone pieces. And then I will also add some frosted lace stickles to a little bit of the flowers as well as some of those smaller stone pieces on the bottom. And then added a little bit of splatter just by dipping the brush into the distress spray container. And that's going to finish off my card for today. I hope you enjoyed. I really love this new release. It's absolutely fabulous. So I hope you check out all of the new products from Visible Image. If you liked this video or found it informative, I would love a thumbs up. As always, I thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I hope to see you next time.